Hi, my name is Nevada Nelson, and this is Just as Sane as I Am, Nellie Bly's expose of Blackwell's Asylum. Who am I? Honorable Judge Gildersleeve and jury. My name is Elizabeth Cochran, but you may know me better by my pen name, Nellie Bly. I'm 23 years old, and I've just arrived here in New York from my home state of Pennsylvania. I've been a reporter my whole professional life, both here and there. Now, when I arrived in New York, I knew that I wanted to work with Joseph Pulitzer's The World. They were just my type. Pulitzer reformed the dying paper into the most successful in the country by using a combination of grisly true stories and the latest gossip and scandals. All of the best reporters worked for Pulitzer, and I knew that I was one of them. Now, by reporting on reporting itself, and sending this article back to my home company of the Pittsburgh Dispatch, I was put into direct contact with a Mr. John Cockerell of The World. I was given a job with the paper, proving that I could complete one not-so-simple assignment: get myself committed to the Women's Lunatic Asylum on Blackwell's Island. Whether this was John Cockerell's idea or an assignment directly from Joseph Pulitzer himself, I don't know. But they gave me the assignment to get rid of me. They didn't think I could do it. But I said I could, and I would. And I did. This is why I am here relaying my reports to you, honorable judge and jury. I'm sure you've read my story in the paper, but I'm here to set the record straight and answer any questions you may have regarding the care of the poor unfortunates that I met on Blackwell's Island. Now, providing that you are ready, I shall jump right into my story. I had no idea what it was I was walking into, save the rumors I had heard. All that I knew was that the occurrences of the institution were kept hidden by bolts and bars. And for the rumors, they were horrible. But I didn't believe them. That a place that was to benefit the most unfortunate of God's creatures could be under such mismanagement? I deemed it impossible. Oh, how wrong I was. Now, once I'd had a plan to get myself committed to Blackwell's Asylum under the name of Nellie Brown, it wasn't very difficult to carry out this plan. After spending some time at Bellevue Hospital, I had reached my goal. I was at Blackwell's Island. The attendants led me ashore, up to an ambulance. They shoved me inside like a piece of luggage. Can you believe how roughly everyone would treat me? But no matter. Oh, the lawns were beautiful. Truly, the horrible rumors, they couldn't be true. But the eyes of my companions were so filled with fear. I really had no way to know until I was within the walls of the asylum. I was then in the asylum, posing as one of the madwomen. Now, to get my job done as well as I could, I would have to resume my role of reporter. I would still be Nellie Brown, still an unfortunate young woman with nothing to my name, but no longer would I have to feign insanity. I would act as I did when I was free. Now, one of the lovely women who joined me in my travels to Blackwell's Island was Mrs. Louise Schanz. She was a German woman who spoke no English at all, and so she was confined to the asylum without even knowing the language in which she would have pled her case. She had no way to prove her sanity, and no way to know where she was trapped for possibly the rest of her life. Who would not rather be a murderer and take the chance at life than be declared insane with no chance of escape? I was left to last to see Dr. Kinnear, who would assess my sanity. I had very little hope in his being fair, so I continued with my plan to act as normal as I could without revealing my identity. He asked me my home, my age. The rest of his questions he directed at the nurse. His job was to assess me and my mental state, and who did he pay attention to? Not me, I can tell you that. I was then ushered out into the hall. One of the other patients kindly explained to me that this was a call to supper. The dining hall was frigid, and many of the patients were blue with cold. The benches were bare and uninviting, yet we all sat down, receiving a slap to the ears if we were anything but straight-backed. I cringed at the sight of the food laid out before me. Bowls filled with a pinkish liquid, which the patients called tea. Slices of undercooked bread with nearly rancid butter, and dishes of 5 prunes. Upon trying these, I nearly gagged and ended up giving my share to some of the hungrier patients. Next were the baths. I protested, but the nurses threatened to use force that wouldn't be very gentle, and so I complied. The water was ice cold. A crazy, chattering woman stood next to me then, and scrubbed at me with a rough rag and the same soap used on my body, my face, even my hair. And then, without warning, I got 3 buckets of the same cold water over my head, into my eyes, my ears. They dragged me, shivering, out of the tub, and dried me with the same towel I had seen used on patients with sickness evident on their bodies. And they shoved me into a garment that would have been cold in late spring, let alone now in the autumn chill. I had very little hope after this first night that anything would get better for me or the other patients. I was right. The next morning I found a spider in my bread, so I did not eat it. I was then subject to my first walk. We were made to walk outside in lines and marched around in the cold for hours. I noted with horror a group of women bound together by chains. Upon further investigation, I found that these were supposed to be the most violent and dangerous women on the island. At dinner that night, the nice young superintendent, Dr. Dent, came round. I asked some of the patients why they didn't confide in him what the nurses subjected them to, and that they said that they would receive beatings if they did. My next 9 days in the asylum were nothing but the same. After 10 days in a madhouse, I was taken off the island. I began my journey to Blackwell's on September 22nd, and I was taken off on October 4th. And now, just under 3 weeks later, I am here reporting to you, at the request of Joseph Pulitzer himself. Of course, Honorable Judge. I've thought nearly non-stop since I left about what I would do to improve the system. First off, I would give more money to the care of the poor and unfortunates throughout the state of New York, not just Blackwell's. I would appoint kind, caring physicians to watch over the staff that works with the patients. I would make sure that the patients and the staff are eating the same food, therefore incentivizing a better diet for the patients. I would make sure that more accommodations are built, and that the rule and the limit of people per building is adhered to. There should be new locks installed on all of the doors that can be opened easily and at once in the case of a fire. Above all, the barrier of bolts and bars between the public and the asylums should be broken. These poor unfortunates need all the help that they can get, and they need it in a place that will not drive them further into the pit of insanity. The secrecy that is shrouding the asylums must be lifted. And this will be one step closer to humane, correct treatment of the poor unfortunates, not only on Blackwell's, but everywhere else. I also hope that the barrier of unfair trial is broken. Doctors shall listen to and consider their patients' pleas. Just because they were sent to an asylum does not mean that they belong there. I truly hope that the poor unfortunates that I deem to be just as sane as I am to get the justice they deserve.